What's the main purpose of being in Kogălinceanu today?
Well, as you know, this is a very important base to NATO and to our efforts in Afghanistan, but also to NATO as a part of the defense of this great country.
According to NATO, Russia deployed tens of thousands of soldiers at the border with the Ukraine. Moscow say it has been an exercise and began to retreat. Any significant changes in this development?
No, only that the forces on the border have gotten more and more ready. We have seen no significant retreat, in fact, no retreat at all, really. The force that is there is very sizable and it's very capable.
The Secretary General of NATO said the alliance strengthens its military components in Eastern Europe. Could you give us some info about Romania? How many soldiers, ships, planes? Also, you'll deploy 600 soldiers in Baltics and Poland for exercise.
Right.
Should we expect the same in Romania?
So first of all, the NATO defense to Romania is robust. Every day now, AWACS patrolling overhead. A strong contingent here at this base. The Marine contingent has grown by over 175 Marines in the very recent past. And as you know, we have a ship in the Black Sea training, sailing, interacting with the Romanian Navy. So right now, a strong air, land, and sea component here. And that commitment remains. Yes, we are beginning to move some forces in Europe to do some training in some of the forward nations. And today, forces will start training in Poland. This is a part of a larger package. We will move some assets into the Baltics seas. We are, as you know, sailing in the Black Sea. We'll continue our robust air policing and our AWACS patrols, and so this is a part of a very large package to reassure our allies.
But for Romania, should we expect any big exercises here, around here?
Well, we just finished an exercise last week, right?
Yep.
F-16s here, and so a continued series of program of exercises here in Romania.
That's cool. After the NATO summit in the fall, could we have a new NATO base in Romania?
I would not want to hazard a guess. One of the things that we are going to discuss in the fall, I think, is the paradigm has changed here in Europe. We have this large force sitting on an international border. It exercised, came to great readiness, crossed an international border into a sovereign nation and has annexed a part of a sovereign nation. That changes the paradigm in Europe. And so I think that our senior-most leadership is going to have to consider these questions. Are we based correctly? Is our readiness correct? And is our responsiveness correct?
Romania will have 12 F-16 in 2017. How will you support until then the Romanian Air Force?
Well, again, what you see is right now AWACS overhead. What you saw last week is U.S. F-16s here exercising. These kind of activities will continue through as you bring aboard a new capability.
Do you think Ukraine's crisis will hasten the construction of missile shield in Deveselo?
No, I don't really think it will change it. What we need to be very proud of right now is that we are on schedule and actually a little below budget. So right now, the progression of European missile defense and the contribution that this great nation is making to that at Deveselo is on track, and I expect it to remain on track.
Kogălinceanu is a transit base for the United States. Ukraine's crisis will change this? I mean, we'll have in the near future, permanent fighter jets, helicopters?
First, let me offer a small correction. MK is more than a transit base. We have the Black Sea Rotational Force of Marines here that are doing exercises and training all day, and that force has grown in the last month. And so this base is important to us for a lot of reasons and will remain important to us and NATO in the future.
The United States will continue to send ships into the Black Sea in order to have a permanent presence here. I mean, we have a news with 30 military dolphins and sea lions and everything.
So right now we are bringing the Taylor into the Black Sea, and it will be here for the next 20 days. We have provisions for follow-on American forces entering into the Black Sea, but what I really want to see is a NATO presence in the Black Sea. Nothing threatening, but something to continue to exercise and interact with our Black Sea partners and allies.
This is the year of withdrawal from Afghanistan. How would you describe the effectiveness of this very long campaign? I mean, did NATO win this war? It was worth the death of over 3,400 coalition troops there?
So what did we see in the last couple of weeks? We saw a very successful election. The highest participation, we think, of any, safer, more effective than the last election, Afghans proudly waving their finger with ink on it. So the Afghan National Security Forces have performed magnificently in preparing this nation, ensuring safety in this nation, and putting forward the opportunity for a fair and representative election. That's something to celebrate, isn't it? It's sort of the pinnacle of the democratic process happening there. Remember now, millions of students going to school, many of them female students going to school. Lots of good things, lots of opportunity. I think what our investment in NATO has given this nation a chance to decide for itself what its future looks like.
Sir, what's going to be the size of the contingent remaining in Afghanistan, and what would be the task?
So the size has not been decided yet, but the task is train, advise, and assist. Training that Afghan force to be ever more self-sufficient and connecting it well to the ministries in Afghanistan so that they can supply and enable that force in the field.
General Breedlove, the last question. What's your prediction on post-withdrawal era? Will remain Afghanistan on this track?
I am an optimist, and what I see in Afghanistan now are young people going to school. I see young men and young women using cell phones, getting on the internet. I see what I think is an irreversible human dynamic, and so I have great hope for the people of Afghanistan.
Sir, thank you very much for being in this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
Good.